Hey everybody, it's Woobits, and we're playing Ace Attorney Investigations, Miles Edgeworth, back in the courtroom. Because Miss Yew wants to have a chat, and I wish I'd gotten a chance to look at what was on her table. Probably it was something boring if they let us progress without seeing it. Okay, what are you doing here? Oh, hello, mister! I'm still investigating! But the object you're looking for is already... Okay, don't mind him. Please, continue with your investigation. Okay, you got it! Gonna find it! Yeah! Detective Bad, haven't we already found what you were looking for? If it means I can keep her in the dark just a little longer, any little task will do. She already knows, Bad! She already knows. Oh, you're more sympathetic than I thought. Yes. All right, we're sitting in the bench, so I guess are we gonna like courtroom style yell?
I've been waiting for you, Edgeworth.
I've also been waiting for the moment in which we can finally lay this case to rest.
The moment in which we can finally lay this case to rest. Wasn't that when we placed Detective Gumshoe under arrest? I think we more than solved this case already. Don't you?
We'll see. It all depends on whether or not your logic holds.
Oh, I see we even have a viewer in the gallery. And why, even Mr. Bad is here. Oh.
A viewer in the gallery? I'm hardly just a bystander.
I have a duty to see this case through to the end, no matter how it turns out. Oh, is that right? Anyway, I thought you might like to hear what I've slaved away to find out. I've taken statements on every single person's movements during the time when our suspect was in the hallway. I also confirmed that there's no possible route of escape from lobby number 2. Therefore, the killer must, without a doubt, be Detective Gumshoe.
And that's all you have?
Yeah, that's all there is to my conclusion and this case.
Sorry, but I beg to differ. In a trial, there is always time for a rebuttal, and we are standing in a court of law. It would be more than appropriate to follow the rules of court in this case, don't you think?
How absolutely like a rookie to think such a thing. But alright, I'll play along and give you a proper testimony.
If my logic is correct, then I've already won. All I have to do now is to prove it by showing who the real killer is. Okay.
Everyone, besides the suspect, has an alibi for when the gun went off. Furthermore, the areas around the crime scene have all been thoroughly investigated, right? I also confirm that there's no possible escape route from lobby number 2, which leaves us with one unshakable conclusion that Detective Gumshoe is the killer.
Yeah?
Now that you have your testimony, I expect a good rebuttal, Edgeworth.
But of course. There is no need to confront her logic head-on right now. I should instead focus on drawing out any trump cards she has up her sleeve. Okay.
Everyone, besides the suspect, has an alibi for when the gun went off.
Hold it!
The suspect, but I thought that Detective Gumshoe's alibi has already been proven.
Are you joking, Edgeworth? You must be, because I'm laughing really hard.
I assure you this is no joke. I'm not capable.
Look, I know you heard from the judge earlier that the detective was in the hallway with Miss Faraday's daughter eating a Swiss roll.
Yes, that is correct.
But see, that was 20 minutes before the real gunshot went off, right? And the problem is, there's no one else who can corroborate what he did since the snacking.
I see she's done her research well. Which means that I should focus on drawing out whatever trump card she's withholding.
Furthermore, the areas around the crime scene have all been thoroughly investigated, right?
Yes. Whether they've been thoroughly investigated or not is for me to decide, and yes, they have, because I said so.
The scrunched eyebrows, the lines in your forehead are back. You look like a raisin face. Anyway, if you believe it hasn't been exhaustive, the crime scene, lobby number 2, has no way out other than the hallway Detective Gumshoe was standing in. And because he claimed to be there, that makes him the only possible suspect.
But isn't it also possible that someone escaped through a window and into the garden? No, there's bars.
That's the first place everyone looked, silly. The police aren't a bunch of lazy bums. They looked into every possibility, you know. Isn't that right, Mr. Bad?
Yeah. There wasn't a scrap of evidence to suggest someone used one of the windows. There also weren't any footprints or anything in the courtyard garden. I suppose they really did check everything that could be relevant to the case.
I also confirmed that there's no possible escape route from lobby number 2.
Are you absolutely positive that there are no possible routes of escape?
Of course I'm sure.
And why are you so certain?
This is a courthouse, the place where criminals are brought to be judged. If there were an escape route, I'm sure every criminal would be using it to escape. It's just common sense.
Miles Edgeworth, I suggest you use a bit more of it in the future. Yeah.
Which leaves us with one unshakable conclusion, that Gumshoe is the killer.
You may think it's unshakable, but to me there are still too many unanswered questions. For example, who was it that placed the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand?
But you're the only one still wondering that. Detective Gumshoe probably had no idea which hand Mr. Faraday used to write with. Even if you know someone, it doesn't mean you know which hand they write with, right? I mean, I certainly don't care about that sort of thing. That's stupid. It's a stupid thing.
I'm not about to let her get a rise out of me with such a flippant statement. I suppose we've really reached the end now. I already have my trump card already. All that remains is to play it. But before I do, I think I should inquire into a little something about her argument. You said earlier that you confirmed the alibis of every person other than the suspect. However, I don't recall either Francisco or myself speaking with you about the subject.
Oh, but there were witnesses. For you, there is your mentor, who gave you an alibi.
I see.
As for the little missy, she came to the courthouse during the recess. And was stopped by a security guard at the door of the hallway. She gave him quite a whipping for that, or so I heard.
I'm the daughter of Manfred von Kammer, and I will not be forcibly stopped by a guard or a bailiff or anyone else. I will whip him good. Wait, so basically the only reason Francisca bothered to show up today was because she found out that I was to be the replacement prosecutor? By the way, Miss Yew, what about everyone's alibis before Detective Gumshoe was assigned to guard duty?
What about him?
Have you looked into what people were doing during that span of time?
What kind of idiot do you take me for? It doesn't matter when the killer went into lobby number 2. From the time we heard the gunshot to the time Mr. Bad and I arrived on the scene as we dashed from lobby number 1. The only person who could have committed the crime was Detective Gumshoe.
Yes, let's talk about when you and Detective Bad heard that gunshot, shall we? I suppose that if we go by your logic, then Detective Gumshoe is the only one. However, what if the crime had occurred at an entirely different time than when that gunshot you heard went off? What then? That gunshot was a trap meant to manipulate our perception of when the crime took place.
Sadly, your explanation is very lacking, Edgeworth. The gunshot we heard in lobby number 1, care to explain how that could have been fabricated?
Well, you heard a sound of a gun from a real gun that had been recorded previously.
That tape? Oh, well, I gotta put all my makeup on.
Yes, that's exactly what you think it is. This is the surveillance tape of Mr. Rell the prosecution presented in today's trial. This was found loaded in the video player in lobby number 2. That was connected to the large television that had its volume turned all the way up.
You can't honestly mean that the sound we heard was the gunshot in the video.
But I do, which leads me to my next point. The murders occurred much earlier than when anyone heard the gunshot. That's the only thing I can think of, too. After committing double homicide, the killer took the surveillance video out from Mr. Faraday's evidence bag, turned the television's volume all the way up, and left the video to play. If played from the beginning, it would take 30 minutes for the gunshot sound to come on. And since we now know that this method of time manipulation is possible, it opens up the possibility that the killer is someone other than Detective Gumshoe.
Sounds from a television doesn't amount to much here. But of course Mr. Prosecutor Edgeworth and little Miss Von Karma already knew that much from the very beginning, right?
Of course we knew! Didn't we, Miles? Yes, of course. We knew about the soundproof quality of the courthouse's rooms. Of course, I'm not about to admit we had no idea until a little while ago, but yes, we know now.
That's right. If the rooms are soundproof, then we should not have been able to hear it. And yet we heard the gunshot clear as day.
And?
That's it, end of story.
But it's not. How should I explain why she was able to hear a gunshot from a soundproof room? The window was open. Clearly. There is actually one common point between lobby number 1 and lobby number 2, and it is that despite the fact that both rooms have air conditioners installed, a window was open in each. Now we know that the window in lobby number 2 was opened by the killer. However, a window in lobby number 1 was also opened.
Objection! It's probably just coincidence that they were both open at the time.
Objection! It was no mere coincidence, I assure you. Why was the window opened in lobby number 1? The answer is that a certain person did something to cause the window to be opened, and the person who triggered that action, that person is the real guilty party. Detective Bad opened it, but he opened it for a specific reason. The real killer in this double murder is Yadagarasu. I mean, we could accuse Tyrell Bad because he opened the window, but the thing they keep harping on, the thing they keep talking about over and over again, was that he was being suffocated by perfume. And it was Calisto who had a bunch of really nasty perfume. Did you do this, you? Did you do this? Miss Calisto Yew, I hereby formally indict you of the murder of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. Huh? What?
You indict me?
Makeup all over the side of her face. Are you serious, Miles? Why do you think she's the killer? I don't understand her motive just yet. But of course I'm serious. Because she's the only one who could have done it. Well, Miss Yew, do you still feel like laughing now?
Ha! Ha ha! Of course I do, Edgeworth. Yeah, I'm laughing it up.
My argument must not be tight enough yet.
Although I never thought things would spiral into this. But I'll have you know, I'm enjoying this dance quite a bit. I guess this means it's time for my own rebuttal now, right? Sure.
Miss Yew's rebuttal.
You argue that the window was open. However, do you have proof it was I who did that? Furthermore, do you have proof that the tape was used in committing the crime? Frankly, I'm shocked at you for going around accusing people of murder like this. Gosh. Especially with logic as full of holes as yours.
This is where it really starts. I mustn't let my guard down for even a second, or the truth will blow away. Now is the time to put the patented Von Karma perfect proof to the test. All right.
You argued the window was open. However, do you have proof it was I who did that?
Evidence. All I need to do is have some prints analyzed, and we'd know straight away.
Be my guest.
She sounds as though she has the room to maneuver, which means, even if we were able to lift prints, they'd only show that it was someone else. But why that someone else was forced to open the window? That's simple logic. Why didn't I try presenting that piece of evidence? I have nothing to lose.
What's wrong? The scrunched eyebrows, lines on your forehead, they're all back. More importantly, are you going to be okay not running a fingerprint analysis?
Yes, I'll be fine.
Oh, well in that case, I'll just continue with my testimony, alright?
Let's go back to that statement. We're going to present the perfume. Let's see, it was spilled in lobby number 1.
Objection!
I'm sure you've seen this before, haven't you, Miss Yew?
Aha, Edgeworth, I never knew you were into wearing that kind of perfume. It really suits your fashion sense. I bet you smell great. You're just as pretty as you look. It's not exactly what I'd recommend for boys, you know.
Ooh, this isn't mine.
That's right, it's mine, and I received it from Detective Bad, you see? It's an imported brand, it's very expensive. I knew right away, I have the best taste of perfume. And I put it on, and now I smell as pretty as I look.
Miss Yew, you can pretend all you like, but we know at least this much for sure. That this bottle of perfume was given to Detective Bad by you.
Because it gets really strong really fast. So, what about the perfume?
While you were in lobby number 1, you made a big show of spilling some of this perfume. That's according to Detective Bad.
Oh, I know.
You also knew that if you spilled it, he would naturally move to an open window. To open a window.
Come now, I've already told you. That's all just a big coincidence. After he opened the window in lobby number 1, I just left it open, you know. So maybe it was just dumb luck that we heard the gunshot through the window.
Objection!
The timing of when you were going to spill the perfume is something you can control. And the most important fact about this case is when people were made to hear the shot. Furthermore, it would have been pointless if you didn't have an alibi for yourself at the time. You mean, Miss Yew, you were the one who called Detective Bad into lobby number 1. When you saw him bring Detective Gumshoe into the hallway. Is that correct? All of today's premeditated events could only have been thought of by you, Miss Yew.
You accuse me of murder on the fact that I spilled a little perfume. Well, allow me to say this much. I couldn't have killed Mr. Faraday.
Would you care to testify as to why?
Look, I've had a lot of fun today, really. But I grow weary of this game of cat and mouse. Let's make this the last testimony and wrap up this absurd case once and for all.
Okay. Let's wrap it up. Why it couldn't be me.
Accusing someone of murder over a spilled bottle of perfume is a bit over the top. But I suppose forgery of evidence is to be expected of a disciple of Von Karma.
Excuse me?
In any case, it simply could not have been me who killed Mr. Faraday. After all, I don't even know where the knife that was used to kill him came from.
My also testimony is flawless.
Yes, but no matter what sort of trick she may try to pull, she won't escape me. And if I'm lacking in information, I'll just draw it out of her. Very well.
Accusing someone of murder over a spilled bottle of perfume is a bit over the top, wouldn't you say? But I suppose forgery of evidence is to be expected of a disciple of Von Karma.
Oh wait, I need to go back and press that one. I'm just reading it through again. Okay, is it a bit over the top?
Hold it!
I think I ought to explain the significance of that earlier.
You only confirmed that I did spill some perfume, but that's all. That you would accuse me of murder based on a simple spill. Don't you dare complain when I sue you for defamation of character.
Do as you like, but as for me, I believe.
You believe?
I believe that you're the true culprit in this case.
My, you're enthusiastic. Yes, of course I should have guessed. But I suppose forgery of evidence is to be expected of a disciple of Von Karma.
Them's fighting words right there.
Hold it!
Excuse me? I formally request that you desist in your attack against my mentor. Speaking of defamation of character.
Yes, or else we'll sue you for defamation.
All I'm doing is telling the truth. Well, maybe more like spreading gossip. Although your adamant denials are, shall we say, just adding fuel to the fire.
How dare you?
Say such a thing.
Calm down, little girl. Don't let her get to you.
Oh, why'd you have to ruin my fun?
Oh, why'd you have to ruin my fun? Well, shall I continue? In any case, it simply could not have been me who killed Mr. Faraday.
So it's definitely going to come down to the knife. And why exactly could you not have killed him?
I was just about to testify to that. You're such an impatient man. I'm not really into that, you know, Edgeworth. Ooh, we could never be married.
Your preferences have no bearing on what is at hand.
Feeling a little uncomfortable, are we?
Good.
Monsieur, you want to desist in this tomfoolery and return to your testimony. And Miles, if you're going to lose your cool, then I won't show you any mercy.
Sorry, miss you, please continue with your testimony.
Sure. As I was saying, I couldn't possibly kill Mr. Faraday. After all, I don't even know where the knife that was used to kill him came from.
I feel like presenting the key and just seeing what she does. At this rate, she will inevitably escape. But if she really was the one who killed Mr. Faraday, then she must have known about the existence of the knife. I'm sorry, Miss Yew. Maybe you weren't aware. However, the knife that was used to kill Mr. Faraday was taken from his evidence bag.
Miles, what do you think you're doing?
I'm drawing the truth out of her. That's what I'm doing, and shut up. Let me work here. Jeez.
Huh? But I don't recall a knife being presented at the trial earlier today.
Well, I suppose that's because the evidence was something Mr. Faraday had yet to use.
So that's what you're trying to do. Look, why don't you cut it out with the lies? I've already figured you out. There was no knife inside Mr. Faraday's evidence bag. The only evidence he had yet to present was the key the Yatagarasu had sent. And unless a key can magically turn into a knife, you really don't have a leg to stand on.
Does she really not know?
Did you really think you could trap me? Come now, be honest.
I never intended to do such a thing. It was all a misunderstanding on my part. In any case, I wonder if you might append what you just said to your testimony.
Sure, why not? I'll even say it as many times as you'd like. You can keep just looping around in a circle, and I'll just say it over and over again, using the same expressions and movements. There was a key in his evidence bag, but you can't kill anyone with a simple key.
Hold it!
Miss Yew, I would just like to confirm something with you one more time.
Oh, about what's going to happen to Detective Gumshoe after this?
I don't need to ask you about that, because he isn't the killer.
Looks like the number of wrinkles on your forehead have increased yet again.
That issue aside, Miss Yew, I'd like to ask you about what was inside the bag. You are sure it was the Yatagarasu's key, correct?
Yeah, I'm sure. Which is why I'm completely baffled as to where that knife could have come from.
I think I've just spotted the road to a perfect victory. Finally, it would appear that you have revealed your true identity, Miss Yew.
Miles, her final statement.
Yes, I know. All I have to do now is to present the evidence. But what is this ominous feeling that I can't shake? Okay, so... you can't kill him with a simple key. Do we just present the key itself? Turns into a knife. Let's just see what happens.
Objection!
Miss Yew, I wonder if you might take a look at this photo for me. This is a picture of the key the Yatagarasu sent to the police. However, while it may look like a key at first glance, It in fact has the secret ability to transform into a knife. Which means that what was inside Mr. Faraday's bag was both the Atagrasu's key and the murderous knife. You knew that the key was inside Mr. Faraday's bag, did you not?
Yes?
Well, with the Atagrasu's key alone, it's more than possible to kill Mr. Faraday. Good. Do you understand now, just knowing of the existence of the Atagrasu's key?
I still haven't had a good look at it. Shooting it isn't even that far away. You could be lying for all I know.
You would even now still feign ignorance.
I'm not feigning anything. I barely know what that word means. But we can't have you accusing me of a crime with false evidence, now can we? I mean, Mr. Von Karma, I've heard some very interesting rumors about him.
Ah, are you mocking my papa?
Don't you dare sully the good name of my mentor. Now take a good look. This piece of evidence is more than real.
Well, who knew there was such a trick to this thing?
Are you satisfied now? But of course you knew from the very beginning, didn't you? You knew that the knife and the Atagrasu's key are one and the same. Otherwise, someone like you, who isn't a member of law enforcement, and who would never have been privy to this trick, would have never known about it to begin with. Furthermore, there's something the Atagrasu sent to the police. How did you have knowledge as to what it was?
Actually, I heard it from Mr. Faraday. Just before he dragged Mr. Rell off, he told me. Oh, that's right, I almost forgot. He also told me about the key turning into a knife at that time, so I've known the whole time. You were right. Whoops. But he didn't tell me about how the key actually transforms.
What are you saying is simply not possible.
Oh, and why not?
Because Mr. Faraday himself didn't know about the hidden knife within the key. For within these pages he mentions nothing about a knife.
I'm not sure he would have written everything in his organizer, you know. Wouldn't something of this importance be better left to oral communication?
Objection!
Unfortunately, that is also impossible. Because Detective Bad didn't know about the knife aspect either. Well, what would have been highly classified information, even within the police force, and it is something that even the lead detective on the case didn't know. Why would Mr. Faraday have felt the need to share such information with the opposition?
Yeah, I guess he wouldn't have much of a reason to. Looks like I gave a pretty lame excuse, huh?
How can you laugh at a time like this?
She probably just realized the flaw in her logic and is actually in a panic over it. But that's not something we need to concern ourselves with.
I suppose you're right. Miss Yew, I'd like to state that I also know how you know the real nature of the knife.
Do you now? Well, why don't you put your money where your mouth is and show me?
Oh, I will, and I'll wipe that smile off your face by the time we're through. This is it, the moment of the truth, the secret behind the Yatagarasu's key. Only one person would have had knowledge of it from the get-go. Who would know from the start that the Yatagarasu's key could change into a knife? It would probably be Dead Man. No, I think it's gotta be the Yatagarasu.
Take that!
There's only one person who would have known about the dual nature of the key.
And that is?
And that is the person who sent the Yatagarasu's key to the police. That is to say, the Yatagarasu herself.
Are you saying that this lawyer is a great thief, Yatagarasu?
Miss Yew, you used Mr. Rell to lure Mr. Faraday into a trap, didn't you? You who profess to bear a grudge against criminals. Why? Why do something like this?
that you, a stupid rookie prosecutor, would see through me. You're sending the biggest chill down my spine right now, Edgeworth. This feeling of thrill? It's even greater than when I sneak into someplace!
You killed Faraday? Why? Answer me, Calisto Yew!
Calisto Yew, huh? That's not my real name. Because my real identity is, yes, the great thief Yatagarasu! Let me tell you something, Edgeworth. Mr. Faraday was one difficult man to deal with. For you see, he had discovered my true identity. Which is why I had to erase him from the world of law. I made Rel an offer on acquittal for a little favor in return. All he had to do was accuse Mr. Faraday of being the Yatagarasu in court. But once we entered the recess, Rel was dragged off by Mr. Faraday, which threw my plan into a complete mess. I chased after them and eavesdropped on them through a crack in the door. That Rel caves to only two things, money and authority, just as all thugs do. I feared my plan was going to be ruined if Mr. Faraday held on to Rel any longer. Plus, if I'd let them continue on the way they were, I would have been found out. That's why I had no choice. I had to kill them both.
But didn't you say that you despise criminals?
But do I really?
Have you forgotten about the KG8 incident too?
Maybe.
But such a woman would... So then was it your plan to kill Mr. Faraday with the very evidence that you sent?
Well, I had a good idea of what Mr. Faraday was going to do. I anticipated that Mr. Faraday was going to prove that Rel wasn't the Yatagarasu by using this Yatagarasu's key as evidence, and that he would bring it with him. Which is why I thought to use the knife portion. With a weapon as well disguised as this, no one would be the wiser. Because who in their right mind would think something like this could be a weapon? I casually entered lobby number 2 on the pretext that I had to talk with Mr. Faraday. In order to get in with him, I pretended to be worried about something. He then let me hold the Yatagarasu's key, just like that. He never noticed that I had changed the key into a knife inside that plastic bag. And he didn't have the chance to take note of the knife that took his life.
How could you kill him?
I knew him for a long time, you know. At the very least, I thought to give him a quick and painless death.
But if you killed Mr. Faraday first, there was no need for you to kill Mr. Rel as well.
I believe I mentioned why we were placing Detective Gumshoe under arrest. Something about having accidentally created an eyewitness. And now how that led the killer to think about setting them up as though they'd killed each other.
Then the trick was the surveillance tape.
Yeah, I hadn't actually planned to use a gun. The risk was too high that I'd be caught. However, that's when I remembered the existence of that surveillance tape, which is why I had Rel help me set up the crime scene. And after all was said and done, I rewarded him for all his hard work with a bullet.
You're a defense attorney, aren't you? How could you betray a client?
Client? If you want someone to talk about who was a client of who was first, it was me. I was the client in the murder of the Cadopian Embassy staff member, Dead Man.
You ordered a hit job.
You still haven't figured it out, Mr. Bad. I had Dead Man killed because he was about to give away info about the smuggling ring. Now, who exactly do you think would benefit from such an assassination?
It can't be. You're...
That's right. I'm a member of the smuggling ring.
What? How could this... You don't mean you're working with Manny Cochin too, do you?
Maybe, maybe not. I guess you'll never know.
So Yatagarasu claims to be noble, but you're just another cold-blooded murderer!
That's right, little girl! The Yatagarasu's just another killer!
Be quiet, you! Yatagarasu, you can run from the law, but you'll never escape it. So just humbly accept the judgment of this court.
Hey, Edgeworth. Did you know the Yatagarasu has 3 legs? Do you know why that is? No? Well, let me tell you. It means the Yatagarasu has more than one razor-sharp way to do her work.
Hey, let's talk about this.
You really are too naive, Edgeworth. You even handed the Yatagarasu's key right to me without a second thought. Everything may not have gone according to plan, but I'll still gladly take it.
You mean the key was your real target?
And even after I gave you such great advice, didn't I tell you to always keep a good eye on a criminal? Or you may regret what comes of your negligence.
You two, get down!
Eek! Ah! I'm down!
My body, I can't move. I've suddenly become kind of a wussy boy.
Hey, mister, to your right!
You! Are you alright, Francisca?
I'm perfectly fine, Miles.
Her voice is shaking, but it looks like she's unharmed. Where did Kay go? That's a gunshot! Okay, I was expecting him to get shot actually there.
Sorry, but it looks like she got away. I called the precinct. They should have a perimeter set up soon.
Detective Bad, are you alright? I heard a gunshot.
I'm okay. I just got another hole in my jacket.
You may say he's fine, but he looks quite shaken.
But more importantly, boy, I mean, Mr. Edgeworth, Miss Von Karma, are you too hurt?
I'm absolutely fine.
I'm also alright, thanks to Kay.
Speaking of Kay, where is she?
I don't know. She just sort of disappeared.
I'll go look for her. Oh, and, hey, Detective Gumshoe.
Yes, sir. Detective Bad, sir. Yeah.
I'm sorry I doubted you.
Don't worry, sir. It's not your fault. Well, I lied to you guys too, after all.
I heard about what happened from Kay. Lying while giving testimony is still unforgivable. But in this case, you were protecting Kay and her feelings. Looks like you just might have what it takes to be a real detective.
Huh?
Now don't you ever lose that detective spirit, okay?
Hey, you got it. It pops.
Pops! Watched far too many detective dramas recently, have we?
Way to single-handedly destroy the cheery atmosphere with one snarky comment. Friendly.
I should get back to the investigation. I swear I'll catch you if it's the last thing I do.
Be careful, Detective Bad. And take care.
Thanks. Well, I'm off. Maybe we'll run into each other again someday.
Thanks a bunch, pal. You're the best. You really did find out the truth behind everything. Yes. Well, I'm glad we solved everything before you were taken to prison.
I can't believe how much trouble I caused you with my testimony, Detective Gumshoe.
There's no problem, really. I mean, I lied too, so it didn't help anything. It's really not your fault, Your Honor.
But even if we didn't have His Honor's testimony, I think that lawyer would have found another way to get you convicted on her behalf. Yeah, I can't believe I was about to get fired in my first week as a detective. Well, as long as you're not fired, you should work hard, give all that you have, and perform your duties well. Oh, and one more thing. Kay left a present for you, with me. She did? Oh, what is it? What was it that Kay left for me? The proof of their friendship. Oh, yes. It's just gonna be a Swiss roll.
Take that!
It's a courthouse special Swiss roll! Can I really have it? Yes, it's a present meant for you, after all. Thanks a bunch. Oh, you have no idea how happy this makes me, pal. I'm gonna eat this right now. Sure, go ahead. I mean, maybe you want to save it as a memento, but sure, I suppose just eat it. The Swiss rolls Detective Gumshoe and Kay bought together. While the one Kay saved never reached her father, it would appear that her sentiments have touched the heart of this detective. He's so happy, it's as though he's having a welcome back celebration of his own. Well, I was asked by Kay to give it to him. Whoop! That was good, pal. Oh, man. Mwah, mwah, mwah. First meal I've had in weeks, it's not a bunch of noodles. I hope I make a lot of money and I get to eat those all the time. I can't believe I got to eat 2 of these delicious things in one day. It's like I'm in Swiss roll paradise or something. I gotta thank Kay myself. Hey, wait, where is she? He only noticed just now. Was his mind not present when we discussed her earlier? Detective Bad left to go search for her earlier. Maybe you should go join him. Yeah, you betcha, pal. I'm gonna go help him. But first, you know what, pal? Actually, I shouldn't be so rude to you anymore, huh? I'm gonna stick right by your side. From now on, Miss Edgeworth, sir. I sense nothing but a most troublesome relationship from that ominous statement. We should go home too, Miles. We should have to hurry and report what has happened to Papa. Agreed. Well, I'm afraid we must be going now, Detective. Roger, sir, and don't you worry. I'll investigate the next case we're on real well. I'll, be counting on you. The scent of trouble is definitely in the air. What have I done? What have I done? What have I done? Thus, like a bad dream, my first outing at court came to a disturbing end. A few months later, I was finally able to properly stand in court as a prosecutor. But the detective in charge of the investigation was, as I dreaded, Detective Gumshoe. After that, he became my direct subordinate. I've tried, but words fail to describe the immeasurable suffering he has caused me. But I suppose that's just how things are. As for the little girl who suddenly disappeared, she's now... So, do you remember now? Yes, I remember everything. Kay, it's been a while. Kay! You sure grew up a lot, and I should have recognized you earlier, and I didn't. Sorry. Of course, but thank goodness, I thought you two had totally forgotten about me. You know, I was really worried about you after all that. Where you been all this time? Gummy, I didn't know you cared. After my father died, I went to go live with my mother's relatives. They lived really far away, so I wasn't really able to come back here all that much. Oh, is that what happened? Well, I'm just glad you're all right. So does it all make sense now? You betcha it does. Oh, you know what? I was going through my father's bookshelves recently, and actually, there are still a number of things that don't make sense, Kay. Huh? First of all, why did you come all this way to see me? And second, why are you calling yourself the Yadagarasu? The Yadagarasu is Calisto Yew, the woman who killed your father. No, you're wrong. The real Yadagarasu was my father. Mr. Faraday was the Yadagarasu? Like I said, I was going through my father's bookshelf recently, and I found a secret diary hidden among his books. I have no regrets in choosing to walk the path of the Yadagarasu. That was written in his diary, and that's how I know for sure.
But that's impossible.
What's with that look? You don't believe me?
It wasn't just the expression on my face. I clearly said it was impossible just now. I actively said, I do not believe you because you are lying. It's wrong.
All right then, how do you explain this?
It's a way of disarming any security system of the user's choosing.
Yep, that's Little Thief. Truth be told, this is the Yatagarasu's greatest secret. And this little gizmo was used by my father.
Wow, Mr. Faraday wasn't just a great prosecutor. He was really a great thief, huh?
Yeah, my father worked really hard to steal the truth. But he was killed. And the Yatagarasu was no more.
Oh, there's a 3DS. I got one of those. This lets me break into security systems? Ooh.
But despite that, the Yatagarasu has been spotted again recently.
Someone other than you?
Here, Mr. Edgeworth. Take a look at this article.
The Yatagarasu sent the embassy a calling card.
Yep, meaning this person's a fake. I'm almost certain that Calisto Yew lady is behind this. Because the real Yatagarasu would never send something like a gaudy card out.
But the Yatagarasu did send a white card along with anything to be publicized. That's what Detective Bad told me 7 years ago, if memory serves.
Well, as soon as I heard the news, I got all wound up and I knew I couldn't just let it go. So I searched you out so that I could obtain the truth behind the Yatagarasu. Because if anyone can help me find it, I figured it's you, Mr. Edgeworth.
So you're saying that I have your father's and Mrs. Yew's identities backwards?
Yep, because the real Yatagarasu is noble to the end. And I want to revive the real noble Yatagarasu. If I don't, my father will never be able to rest in peace.
Okay.
Okay, you're so honorable. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I'll always be here to cheer you on, pal.
Even if you are honorable, a thief is a thief. And if you are plotting to commit a crime, then I'm afraid I can't be complicit.
Mr. Edgeworth. You guys are not making it easy for me. Who am I supposed to support now? On one hand, my best friend that we shared snacks with, who I know is honorable, and then also my best friend who loves me, Miles the Edgeworth.
Mr. Edgeworth, what I want from you is not to steal something. What I want is the arrest of that evil woman.
That evil woman? You mean Calisto Yew?
I think it's too hard for me to catch her all by myself. But I thought that since you were to expose her for who she is, then maybe. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, won't you help me?
Come to think of it, I do believe I owe you.
Huh? Owe me for what?
When Miss Yew made her escape, it was you who saved my life. Furthermore, you helped me with the investigation today. I'm not so rude as to leave favors unrepaid.
Then you mean...
Yes. That case has been weighing down my soul ever since that fateful day. Perhaps the time has come to settle things once and for all. If you don't intend to sully your hands in a crime, then I believe I can help you.
Mr. Edgeworth, thank you.
Yay, Mr. Edgeworth, sir! Isn't that great, Kay?
Yeah, it sure is, Gummy.
Even though he had completely forgotten about her until just now. What is with their chummy relationship? Why don't I have chummy relationships? I'm chummy, I'm nice and kind. The great thief, Yatagarasu. After all that time, the true identity of the thief sank back into the darkness. Byron Faraday, Calisto Yew, and Kay Faraday. The phantasmagorically changing identity of the great thief, Yatagarasu. And the Yatagarasu's real goal. It would all come to light the day after I made that promise to Kay. It's the end of that chapter. Find out next time as we start going after the phantasmagorically ever-changing Yatagarasu. Turnabout ablaze? Sounds like the next episode's gonna be hot. Like, comment, and subscribe to make sure you don't miss any updates. I'll see you guys then. Bye for now.
Have a good one.